Hey everybody, Dean Young, Home Tech. Hope everybody's having a great day today. A good start to your week. Beautiful day. Beautiful day, clear skies. Feels really good out. We had a warranty inspection today, and then we had a buyer's inspection later this afternoon that we're having to reschedule due to the water not being on. And I'll probably go over this about every other video, and I'm sure the ones that do watch my videos are probably tired of hearing it, but I'm going to go through it again and explain everything from my perspective, because the liability is on me. We send out a letter to the listing agent, which they can forward or share with the seller, or just being a seller's agent, you're kind of going to know or should know the process and know that all utilities should be on. We're talking water, we're talking power. If there's gas, we're talking gas, and we're talking access to the electrical panel, to the water heater, to any closets, attic spaces, crawl space, all that should be number one when you have an offer accepted and you get a notification that there is a home inspection scheduled. The seller, listing agent, or someone needs to get someone out there to verify that everything is on, that those areas are accessible. If you have a vacant property, I do understand that some people will turn the water off at the main or turn the main breaker off at the main. I get it, but we do not and will not turn it on. That is a big liability. I don't care. Say what you want. Be negative about it, but it's just a reality. Kind of like you cut your car off, you go out to crank it later, it doesn't start, something happened. Same thing with water and power. If I turn the main on and something happens or pops or blows or whatever, I was the last one to touch that panel, and everybody's going to look at me. What'd you do? Everything was fine before we this and this. No, when I go in that home, it needs to already be on. Simple task. Simple. Very, very simple thing. And again, 90% of the agents and sellers do not read the notification that we send stating to make sure utilities are on, to make sure so we can do the home inspection, that there's no delays, and we don't have to charge additional fees to come back out, etc., because this messes with our schedule and scheduling. So I'm not going to, for many reasons, do a partial inspection. The inspection was scheduled for that date and time, and whatever date and time it's scheduled for, I'm there to do a complete inspection that date and time. I'm not there to do everything but the plumbing, everything but the electrical. I'm there to do everything at one time, because some things, those things function together, and things do change. So it can become a liability if I do a partial inspection when one system is not functioning properly, and then go back and retest and there be another issue or something become or supposedly missed that wasn't missed because things change. A lot of people don't look at the wide perspective of it. They're like in a little box thinking simple. But there's a lot of liabilities on home inspectors, and we have our standards of practice which we have to follow by the board, and if we do not and someone reports us, they're going to do their investigation and, well, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that? Why did you do this when this was this? So I'm always trying to cover myself. I do that with a lot of limitation statements and so forth. And there's just a lot to it. There's a lot more than going into a home and looking at stuff, inspecting stuff. You got to have access to these components at the time and date of inspection. Very, very, very simple. So, for the 1,000th time, I've explained this. I've got some standards of practice videos if you guys want to. I believe I uploaded those to YouTube. If you want to go onto YouTube and on my Home Tech Inspection Services, or Home Tech Inspections, I don't know, YouTube page, we have each section, what we're required to do, or what we shall do, and what we're not required to do. Give some people a little more perspective of the processes of what we are required to do and not to do. Because there's people that assume a lot of things. They assume that we are going to walk on the roof. They assume that we're going to report on a certain thing. There's things that we aren't required to report on, which, most of the time I do report on those. If I think it's a safety concern or an issue, I will report on it. As far as the roof goes, we can put a ladder on the edge of the roof and take a look, but 99% of the time, there could be some hidden spots in the roof, some weak sheathing or planking, and if you're walking on the roof and you step through, it could cause personal injury, then you cause property damage, and then it becomes an issue. But we do start on the interior and look inside and try to see, but you don't ever know. So, we've got binoculars, we can look on the ground, and there's nothing getting on the roof is going to do any better than looking from the ground with binoculars or at the edge with the ladder. You're looking for pop shingles, missing shingles. You can tell when shingles are loose from the ground. Very simple. I've been doing this a long time. You know the signs, you know what to look for. You're looking in the valleys, penetration points. You're looking around your vent boot flashing, looking around your flashing and your chimneys, your valleys, apron flashing. You just know. When you've been doing this so long, you just know. It's just like a mechanic. If that's what you know and all you do, you're going to know. Somebody could pull up to you and they listen to a sound on the car, they're going to say, that's your so-and-so. They're going to get into it and see, bam. So trust the expert, although we do have our limitations, and we'll refer you to the proper professional that does that as a trade. So we're just giving you kind of a general blueprint overview of the home and the condition at the time and the date of inspection to gain a better understanding of what you potentially are getting into or may be getting into. And what I mean by that is you see it like this, but future-wise, if this one thing continues, it's going to become a bigger problem, a bigger issue. Leaning wall, cracked foundation, a lot of moisture entry, there's just a lot of different things that could cause issues in the long term. And you want to think long term, and you want to think main systems, electrical, plumbing, roofing, structural, because those are going to cost you the most money. And of all the things and systems that we report on, plumbing is probably one of the biggest ones. So when there's water's not on, that is a big system to not report on, or to have to come back and do it, which I'm not going to do, because you can run dishwashers. Some HVAC systems require a plumbing system, especially your hydronic systems. There's a lot of systems that kind of work together. Without one, you can't function the other. So, without the gas on, okay, gas furnace, you can't function. Gas water heater, can't function. Say if this place had a gas water heater, I couldn't test, if it's functioning properly. I can't test the flue, make sure everything's burning properly. There's just a lot that goes into it. People that think it's this simple, I'll just turn on the water yourself and do it. No, I'm not. As a contractor, I've done it before, and there's been ruptured pipes behind the walls and stuff. I've run into that a lot. I had one agent that blessed me out. This was probably about 5 years ago, and I was working for another firm, and I was sitting in the van and she was sitting in her car, and I was like, man, it's like 5 after, and on my notes it said agent will let you in. So I thought maybe she was just finishing up a phone call. So I got out, and then she got out. She said, so you ready to get in? And I was like, yeah. She was like, I was wondering what was taking you so long. And I was like, no, I was waiting for you. And she was like, well, y'all are the ones that scheduled everything. Don't you have the access? And I said, no. And she looked at me like it was my fault. She was like, well, y'all are the ones that scheduled it, and you don't have access in here? And I was like, well, my notes right here clearly say that the agent's going to let me in, and you want to look at it? Oh my God, this is already going to be a bad inspection. I know who not to use next time. I was like, wow. So we get in. First place I go to is the kitchen faucet. Push it up, no water. I was like, there's no water. She was like, well, aren't you going to turn it on? I said, no, ma'am. She said, what do you mean you're not going to turn it on? I was like, that's a big liability. I'm not going to turn it on. Usually when it's off for a reason. She was like, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. What is your name again? And I'm going to make sure that I don't use you ever again. And then I was like, whatever. I was like, I don't turn on breakers. I don't turn on faucets, any main water valves or anything, because anything could happen. And I asked her, I said, have you ever turned on a breaker before and it pop or cause an arc or something? I was like, that's why we don't do it. She was like, well, I guess when the buyer gets here, if you can do what you can until he gets here, we'll get him to turn the water on. And I was thinking, like, well, why can't you do it? It's so freaking easy, So he gets there about 15, 20 minutes later, and she rants about me. Well, he won't turn the water on, and blah, 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 blah. So he goes, turns the water on. So the water's on, I'm upstairs, I'm doing my stuff, and she's like, well, everything that you find, I want to know immediately. And I was thinking, I ain't doing that. I'll be here all freaking day. So finally, I get to the basement. I take a couple steps down, and I hear something. I look in the floor, and there's water everywhere, spread out of a supply line. And I called her. I was like, hey, come here, look at this. She comes down, looks at the pipe, and I said, that's why I don't turn water on. She goes, well, I guess that's why they had the water off. Duh! People, I'm telling you, I know what I'm doing. This is what I do every day. 2 to 3 houses every single day. About 400 inspections a year. I'm in all kinds of houses. All shapes, sizes. Some that should be condemned. Just some with good housekeeping, some with bad housekeeping. I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. And I know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying I'm always right, but I do, when I'm mentioning something, I do know what I'm talking about. I always try to educate buyers, sellers, and agents, and just make them aware of things. Information is a good thing and can go a long way. And education and knowledge is just, there's just so much out there. And I love it. I love what I do. I'm super excited now to get in here and edit my warranty inspection, because there's some things I found on there that are concerning to me, and I'm so happy that I found them for the homeowner, for his warranty inspection, and hopefully get these things taken care of. And then I'm kind of geeking out because I got me a new deck book, and I'm going to be going through this stuff and highlighting and making some template narratives for those things on the decks. And I just love what I do, man. I do. I put everything that I can into my job. I truly love what I do. I love helping buyers. I love helping sellers, and I just try to educate them and kind of guide them as to what's going on, and let them know the condition of the home. And I don't ever like the ever famous question, would you buy this home? I just let them know anything can be fixed, but it's just a matter of how big is your bank account? What's the seller willing to do? Is this as is? I mean, it's as is because we're in the state of North Carolina, but are they going to sell it as is? Or are they willing to, do some repairs or negotiate? You would think with the amount of money people putting down on homes that people would do stuff, but no, they're not. People are walking away, and people are keeping a large chunk of their money, and then they're upping the price, and then they're fixing the stuff to get their money back. It's just savage. Super crazy seller's market for sure. Taking advantage of a lot of people in this market. A lot of people are getting taken advantage of, and it's sad and it's awful, especially the younger first-time buyers that have been saving, and there's nothing out there. And the ones they do find, they go under contract and they lose that money, and they got to start saving again and be looking again and losing out. And the houses that are left are ones that they could only afford, and they just need work and they need help, and nobody's willing to do any repairs. The seller's not willing to do anything, which they're not required to. But like I said, with the amount of due diligence money people are putting down, you would think that they take that money and put it back in, but anyway, man, that's all I got. 336-99-8185, HomeCheckandSee.com, 336-99-8185, HomeCheckandSee.com. You guys keep praying for Vanessa and Carmen. She sent me some pictures today. Just very sad situation. I've just been on the edge, and my spirit has just been all over the place. Man, it's all in God's hands. His will, man. I mean, either way, you don't want nobody to suffer. You want them here on earth, but you don't want nobody to suffer. And if God says it's time, it's time. And don't fight it. And we're going to miss we miss our loved ones when they're not here on earth, and it's so hard. We never get over it. People say time heals all wounds, but I don't believe that. But anyway, guys, just lift them up for me, and just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. If you want to send them a message on Facebook or just put it on my thing, I'll make sure they see it. Just positive messages, man. I think that would kind of lift Carmen's spirits. I think her spirit is, the pictures I saw today, if you ever knew Carmen, she had a spirit about her, a glow about her, and now she's skin and bones, and looks miserable, just like she's just ready for it to end. And it's sad. It's just sad. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. 336-99-8185, HomeCheckandSee.com.